voice of Morgantown. We break it first. WVU pride. We quench your thirst. No spin, all truth, loud and proud. Mountaineer nation, say it loud. The voice of Morgantown. VOM, Mountaineer pride. We go all in. First to the facts, last to the spin. It's the voice of Morgantown. Let's begin.
What's up, Mountaineer Nation? It's your boy Bernie Mac. Got some breaking news. As you can see, we've got some new edits and some fantastic graphics that our teams put together. You're going to be seeing this a lot throughout the season where we have some breaking news occur. Obviously, there's a lot of things going on this week. First and foremost, we just got word that the Alabama home and home has been canceled. We kind of thought this was coming after the SEC mandated the 9 games, but man, what a heartbreaker. I think there's been a lot of talk about this possibly going and allowing us to slide in and re-engage Pitt, even Marshall. So to see Coastal and Southern Miss added on in place of both those teams is obviously very disappointing. The bigger disappointment and shock that I found was the fact that we did not collect the buyout that was previously agreed upon. I think that if we would have gotten a significant buyout to cancel this home and home, it might have lessened the sting a little bit. But again, to have this home and home against premier program like Alabama taken away and supplemented with games with Coastal Carolina and Southern Miss that really, quite frankly, should be layups on both games, it's disappointing from a fan standpoint. So, look, I'm doing this solo show today. This is going to be part of our format this year. Whenever we have breaking news, I'm going to jump on, or one of my teammates are going to jump on, and we're going to get out there and we're going to talk about some of this stuff. So feel free to please drop your questions or your comments in the chat. I'll be sure to address them throughout the show. But again, lots of breaking news going on right now. First and foremost, the cancellation of the Alabama home and home being replaced with Coastal Carolina and SMU, or Southern Miss, sorry. So again, lots of other things going on throughout the Mountaineer fan base here today. We also just got word that Garrett Green, despite his fantastic performance throughout the preseason, has been cut. He had 6 catches, 85 yards, a touchdown. For those of us who followed Garrett Green, really disappointing way for him to kind of end, or not end, but hit a road bump in what I'd say is going to be a very good, hopefully long and successful NFL career. Garrett seemed to show up, work hard every day. He had some great plays this year. Most recently, I think in the last week, we all just saw that touchdown catch that he had. It was a great acrobatic catch. Was able to get 2 feet in over a better defender. And again, it just is unfortunate. We have to wonder what would have happened if we would have had him on the roster as a receiver with Nico under center. Only what could have been, but again, we'll never know. So to see Garrett, though, at least make this switch this year, do all these things that he did, and just show his ability to play that position very seamlessly is a credit to him. It's a credit to his work ethic. It's a credit to his athletic ability. And I think he's going to continue to surprise some people in the NFL. I would not be shocked at all if he finds a home very soon. I think, he could go the route of David Sills, where he gets signed to a practice squad. He continues to get more repetitions in that position, and then he finds a home on somebody's NFL roster. But again, I think the fact that he did what he did, he slid into that position, and he had a hell of a preseason despite not making the team, is a credit to him as an individual player and his hunger to take his skill set to the next level. So again, if you're just joining, big news on Breaking Bernie is essentially the Alabama home and home series has been canceled. We've replaced those 2 games with Coastal Carolina and Southern Miss. Again, I think a lot of us thought that we were going to be seeing Pittsburgh possibly slide into that slot if it was empty. We would have hoped that Ren Baker and the athletic department were having those conversations with the possibility when the SEC, kind of announced the 9-game mandate. So very disappointing to just see 2 kind of who gives a damn teams be slid into those spots. But look, we have to trust Rem. We know what he's doing. Our hope is that we're going to continue to see some rivals and, slide into some of our gaps as we go through here. So we'll touch on a few more things that have been coming up this week. There's been a lot of hay made about Rich Rod's comments about playing multiple quarterbacks throughout the season. I know my partner, Brad, wrote an article about that and how he feels that hasn't worked before. I would tend to agree with that. I think a lot of people are overreacting to the Rich Rod statement, though. I don't really feel that Rich Rod was saying that, like, hey, we're going to split reps. I can't remember when that occurred last for us, but I remember seeing that quite a while ago. And it doesn't ever work out when you're trying to split playing time evenly, because you're kind of getting into a flow as a quarterback and you don't want to disrupt that. And you'll hear that all the time about people kind of being in the zone or getting into a rhythm. So that's why the 2 quarterback system is never very efficient. Now, what I think Rich Rod meant by that statement was really that he was going to play multiple quarterbacks throughout the season in different situations. And what I'm saying by that is he's already given a lot of props to Max and everybody else that's on the team, but you could very easily see him rotating Jalen Henderson in certain situations and just trying to get some playing time for these guys, especially if we have a significant lead in some games. So, I know I'm not really looking at that statement as something that would bother me. I think Nico is the starter. I think we're going to see Henderson as much as we can, and we're going to see other backups as much as we can, because Rich Rod is still going to try and get those guys some real-time playing experience. And I do think that having the opportunity to play some of our young, skilled quarterbacks in certain situations is not the worst thing. So, again, I think the media and everybody associated are kind of overreacting about the statement. But at the end of the day, I think, again, having these guys rotate through for all of us as a fan base to be able to kind of see what they're capable of, I don't think it's the worst thing. So I think everybody's overreacting a little bit about how this is going down. The other breaking news that we've seen, unfortunately, is that the NCAA has filed an appeal on the judge's ruling for eligibility for our 4 players. That is very disappointing to see. We kind of would have hoped that the NCAA would have let sleeping dogs lie and not really gotten to the situation where we would have this back and forth between WVU and the NCAA. For any of us that have been following the program for some time, we know that the NCAA typically does not side with us, even if we feel we have a valid response to some of their questions or we feel that we're in the right. It's happened time and time again to us, going back to Raekwon Battle and numerous other players. So obviously it's concerning that they're filing this appeal. But I do think, after reviewing a lot of the legal statements that came out of the initial hearing, that it's not going to change the eligibility for the majority of the players. I'm still a little concerned about Jamori, but again, I think at this point, we just have to let the kids start to practice, start to play until we're told otherwise. So we have to let the legal process play out. And hopefully it doesn't turn into a situation where the legal process gets pushed down the road. The judge doesn't hear the appeal until well into the season. It disrupts the season, the chemistry that's been created on the team. So with that being said, lots of good things going on. Otherwise, I think everybody's ready and ramped up for Robert Morris in the home opener this week. And then we have that great game coming up against Ohio. And then we all know we have our biggest rivals coming to Morgantown, September 13th. Lots of excitement around the program. I think after numerous years of mediocrity under Neil Brown, there's a renewed excitement about this program, what's going on, what we've been hearing around the program, some of the people we're going to see, some of the skill sets we're going to see developed, and essentially what this team is going to look like this year. I've said it before. I know we're catching a lot of heat about our predictions, but look, I think Zach Alley is really going to be the difference maker this year. We have not had a very good quantifiable D coordinator in quite some time. And I think the level of skill that he brings to the program, the leadership, the experience, is going to change that defense. And we've already seen we've got the number 1 returning quarterback in the country. So I think that the defense is going to be solid this year, and that's going to allow some pressure to come off of the offense. It's going to be a different situation, different feel for Nico, which is going to be great because he's always used to having to play in high pressure situations with the defense not being dependable. So I think this year is going to surprise some people. So with that being said, this was Breaking Bernie. I appreciate everybody tuning in. And looking forward to a great season here in a few days. Let's go Mountaineers.